Welcome to the Clemson Dubcast, Saturday, December 11th. Taking a deep breath after a crazy week in Clemson football history. Brent Venables, gone. Dan Radakovich, gone. Tony Elliott, gone. And I think, as we're going to detail at TigerIllustrated.com this weekend, I have a suspicion that Dabo Swinney is kind of relishing this, enjoying the sort of outside panic, skies falling from Clemson fans. Seems like he's right back at home in the underdog role. People are doubting him, saying he can't do something, shouldn't do something. One thing we do know, the future is going to be fascinating to watch unfold here. My good friends Blake Smith and Brooke Archenhold have been part of the podcast since the beginning, way back in August of 2018. They have an accomplished team of personal injury attorneys at Parham, Smith, and Archenhold based in Greenville. They are Clemson people, and their skillful attorneys have decades of experience in complicated litigation matters, taking a special interest in medical malpractice, nursing home abuse, and neglect, car accident cases that have left the individuals involved in serious trouble. For a free consultation at Parham, Smith, and Archenhold, call 864-990-4581 or online at parhamlaw.com. That's PARHAM law.com. If you're in the Eastern Midlands and PD area and you're in any way interested in buying and selling a home, commercial property, land, need to consider reaching out to Uptown Realty. They're based out of Sumter and run by a friend of mine, Patrick Enzer, big Clemson guy, used to cover the Tigers in a newspaper capacity, longtime supporter of Tiger Illustrated, longtime listener to the Dubcast. The home buying process should be an enjoyable experience, so let Patrick and his staff do all the heavy lifting. All you got to do is pick up the phone and call 803-774-0435 or go to uptownrealtysc.com. Want to share a quick word about Founders Federal Credit Union? If you've been to a sporting event in Clemson, you've probably heard about Founders already. They are the official credit union partner of the Clemson Tigers. In addition to that, all Clemson faculty, staff, and students are eligible for membership as well as IPTAY members. Matt Gross is a proud Clemson alum and the vice president for the Clemson market for Founders Federal Credit Union. Matt's office is located beside the Walmart Neighborhood Market on Old Greenville Highway in Clemson. For more information, go to foundersfcu.com. Okay, to our conversation with Ben Boulware. I tell you, these talks with him, whether on a podcast or back during his playing days, never not fun. Really good stuff here with Ben. Here we go. Enjoy. Okay, joined by Ben Boulware, former Clemson star. I think the first podcast I ever did 4 years ago was with you over at your gym in Anderson. So that was a good memory. Appreciate you rejoining us.
I appreciate you having me.
All right. So what triggered the idea to have you on again was your you had a fantastic tweet in response to Venables, the announcement that he had been introduced at Oklahoma, and it was a response to the official Oklahoma football feed that had a picture of him holding a football and staring into the camera, and he wasn't exactly smiling. And you said,
looking terrifying.
You said, honestly, there is nothing scarier than when you messed up and this man stared into your soul, all caps, with those eyes. It still gives me nightmares to this day when I got this look after I missed my gap in the 2015 Alabama game and Derrick Henry housed it for 50. Oh, you dudes, get ready, LOL. That's great stuff, man, and I just had to have you on after that point, after I've read that.
And that's what he would do. He would do that, but it would also be like white foaming around his mouth because he just was. I'm telling you, during games, the whole time he would have just white stuff around his mouth because
in the corners.
In the corners because he'd be screaming so much. There's nothing worse than him sweating. Those eyes, and then just you see a white foam around his face. It just was terrifying.
I think I've even seen the white foam in a press conference. He's even so intense in a press conference that sometimes it comes out there.
Telling you.
All right, when you first? Well, I guess you were prepared for the possibility because there was a whole week of speculation about him being very much in the mix. But what was your immediate reaction when you heard the deal was done and that such an icon, such a foundational piece of this machine was headed out?
It was definitely weird. And I'm kind of, like you said, had somewhat of like, I guess, like close to a week of getting warmed up to the thought of him leaving. And for I guess that entire week, I was like, there's no reason for him to do it. Like, I don't know why he would go. He's always communicated to me and honestly a lot of other people that he had no desires to be a head coach. I was like, he's a football guy. He just wants to coach linebackers and just coach defense and doesn't want to deal with the hoopla of what comes with being a head coach. There's just so much other stuff that comes along with that. And with Tyler still playing here and then his daughters, I was like, other than him just getting a stupid check and the challenge of just like seeing what's next and trying to challenge himself as a leader and a coach, nothing pointed to him leaving on my end. So I was like, this is just normal drama. And he probably it's elevated because it was his history with Oklahoma. But I didn't think it was going to be real until everyone's been texting me all week, just trying to get like insight on it or what do I know. And I'm like, dude, I'm like going on 4 years removed now. Like most of the team that's there or people that I know that was there are kind of gone now. And I'm just a businessman now, so I don't have much insight. And my family's just texting me and friends and whoever, and one of them they texted me and said it was a done deal. I can't remember what day. I think it was Sunday.
A week ago Sunday.
Yeah, it's been a week now.
Well, no. It happened Sunday, days. But he gotcha.
So I got a text and just got a done deal, and so I go on Twitter and just see all that stuff. And I see him getting on a plane with their AD and president. I was like, it was like I was sad.
Yeah,
like I was like happy for him for his like obviously I know like him as a man, and he probably wrestled with this for a while. I guess not a while, because when Lincoln Riley left, it was only, probably 2 weeks or however long. So, but I know he was fighting battles, just trying to figure out what decision to make. And I know if he made this decision, he probably thought long and hard about it, and has wise counsel that he tapped into in his family. And so I know he knows that he's made the right decision, but still from on my point of view and your point of view and now it's looking in, it was just sad to see him leave. So that's where I'm at right now, I guess.
Yeah, it's almost like, I posted on our message board. I posted the image that Oklahoma released of Brent Venables, sort of the image they came up with, the new football coach, and I'm like, this is really cool, to see. And then people are like, man, way too soon, Larry. We're still in mourning. And my point is it's possible to sort of be both wow, what an amazing opportunity for this man, but also it's such a feeling of loss that he's no longer around here.
1,000%. You're happy for him and his family because such good people, as a man, as a leader, as a coach, as a father, the dude is just elite, and he's earned. I was literally driving this morning, and I was just trying to get into his head about just how he's just every decision that he's made over the past, 10 years or however long it's been since he's been at Clemson has paid off for him to get this opportunity. He truly has earned it. And so you're super happy for him because I know he just wants the next challenge and just feels like it's right. But again, you're just us as Clemson fans, we're the not what's the one I'm looking for? I don't realize how blessed we've been with having a coach like him. And I think now we do know, because we're trying to think about what's next and who we're going to get. And I mean, there's no one like him from like a defensive mind standpoint, from like a consistency standpoint, also from like playing the game, being able to relate to recruits, from like a leadership. Like him and Swinney are at the top. So it's tough because we just have been not realize how good we've had it over the past 10 years. So yeah, all that to get to, yes, you're right. Super happy and thankful, or super happy for him, but also sick to your stomach because he's gone.
I don't want this to come out the wrong way and make it sound like Clemson's program is now headed into the gutter, but Venables is irreplaceable. Do you agree?
So I think that, and again, like, who cares about my opinion, but I think that, hey, like, we are kind of dealing with not a rebuild year, but just like dealing with some challenges on the team this year. And I thought that, hey, this coming year, maybe the next, we'd get back to where we were. Like, we learned a lot of hard things and challenged ourselves in a lot of different ways on the team this year. And next year we'll be back to where we were because we learned so much. I think now that, hey, instead of it being a turnaround in a year, might be 2 to 3, 4 years before we get back to where we were, which is fine. And again, like, this is just my opinion, and no one cares about it, and it might be bullet board material for the players because they're pissed I'm saying this. But I mean, and I could be wrong. They could be who they bring in, and next year win the national championship. So who knows? But I think it always starts at the top, and Coach Swinney is, I mean, the best leader that I've ever met in my entire life. And I think he does a really good job, or he's done a really good job in the past couple of years, is bringing in just freak coaches that know the ins and outs of offense and defense. And he can just kind of, all he has to do is just sit back and deal with the culture and the media aspect of it. And I know he probably taps into the offensive side of the ball a little bit with him being a former receiver and being more knowledgeable in that area. But for the most part, and again, this is the outside looking in, I don't know Coach Swinney's like day-to-day work life, and I know he does a lot more than this. But I feel like for the most part, he just has let Elliott and Venables do their thing, and he focuses more on like the relationships, the people, the culture. And he's done it before, and I feel like he's just going to do it again. He's going to find some guys that are elite on, if this is saying if Elliott leaves, but he did it however many years ago with both of them, and I know he's probably grown even more now as a coach and as a leader, so he'll do it again. I'm not worried about it, other than it'll take some time for what coach they bring in to kind of get his feet planted in the ground and learn the system. But I mean, Coach Swinney is Coach Swinney. Yeah, he is. He's not sweating at all. He'll figure it out.
I don't know if this is news to you or not, but are you familiar with Wesley Goodwin?
Yes, so I have heard the news as well.
Okay, and I mean, I'm not criticizing. I mean, all signs point to Goodwin being the play caller, defensive play caller moving forward. I'm thinking in a co-coordinator role, but him being the play caller, I'm not criticizing that. I'm just saying that is as out. I mean, more than outside the box. That's outside the house. You know, like to replace an icon at the top of his profession with a support staffer. And I've heard nothing but great things about Wesley, but still, I'm curious. What was your reaction when you heard that things were pointing in that direction?
Yeah, so similar to yours. Wes was there when I was there, but again, like he has been so behind, especially so when I was there, he was, I'm pretty sure I don't know if he was there for the entire time or, again, I don't remember what I did yesterday, let alone, hold up. I'm going back inside. People are following me talking around. I don't literally remember what I did yesterday. So I don't remember exactly how long he was there.
He was there when you got there, and then he went to the Cardinals for 3 years, came back in 18. So he would have not been there in 15, 16, 17, I believe.
So he was there for a year. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I knew he was there for a little bit. But, I'm pretty sure that there's a similar role that he's had now. He's just been behind the scenes, and I talked to Jamie and
Skowski.
Yeah. Skowski, and he put me on that thought about how it was going to be Wes, and I was like, "What?" And he was like, "Dude, the guy's smart. Everyone calls him Westless chick or whatever, like in reference to Belichick." So just everyone's saying that he's just a football guru and just understands the defense in and out. And that's probably usually why, and that's why I think there's a lot of potential there, is because he's been just on the back end and just knows. And that's what I've been always saying, hey, to be a DC, because I was curious. I was like, who are they going to bring? If they bring somebody up, who's it going to be? Because you have to know every single person's responsibility in every single situation and what you're going to do with it. You can't just know linebackers or know the safeties roles or the three technique or whoever. Like, you have to know everything. And I guess that's why he makes sense, because he's just been on the back end doing, I don't really know all the ins and outs of what he's been doing, but I don't think Jamie would make up stuff out of his butt that he's not a football guru. But I know that there is a lot of other responsibilities when it comes to being a coach. Like, you have to know more. So if there's a lot of boxes you have to check, knowing the defense in and out, every position in and out, and what you're going to do in every situation. But there's also like the recruiting aspect, the relationship aspect. Because you can have all the X's and O's in the world, but if you don't have guys that are elite athletes to do those X's and O's at a high level, then your game plan and your defense doesn't matter. You got to have some dudes. So I think that'll also be a challenge. If Wes is the guy, that'll be, not saying he can't do it, because again, like, he could be the next Venables or the next Belichick, but I think a challenge for him will be the relationship side of it than the recruiting side of it, because he's been on the back end for so long, and I guess he hasn't been the face of like the defense or the linebackers, whoever. That'll be something that he'll have to do. And I'm sure he's up for the challenge, and we'll see how it goes,
Yeah, you mentioned Venables, absolute animal on the recruiting trail. Probably one of the big reasons Oklahoma went after him. Also, though, let me test this theory out on you. It's my belief that to play that style of defense that he played, that's so complex and is ever-changing with pressures coming from every place you can imagine, that it doesn't work if you don't have just total buy-in, total devotion to that guy running the show. Like, and I'm not saying Wes and the co-coordinator can't produce that same buy-in, but I think that's a part of what you're talking about, checking all those different boxes. In that Venables, I mean, those dudes, you and everybody who's played for him, just totally latched onto him in every way. Is that?
And that's like when and it's tough for me to speak on why guys come to Clemson, because my opinion's biased. Like, I went to Clemson because I grew up 30 minutes on the road, and that's all I've ever known. My brother was playing baseball there. My mom went there. My grandparents went there. Like, all I've ever known is Clemson. So, like, I didn't care if Billy Bob Jones was the head coach, I wanted to go play at Clemson, so, but from a guy, so you're recruiting a guy that's living in California, and how do you recruit him to come to Clemson? Obviously, Coach Swinney's a big factor in that. You want to play for a guy like Coach Swinney and the campus and the history of the program. Are we good? What's our chances of playing at the next level? But then it goes down to the coach. If you're not going to want to play for a team and a position coach that you don't have a good relationship with. So I think there's many factors when it comes to recruiting, but being able to build a genuine relationship with players and being able to sell them on why they should come to your program is a huge factor. And I don't know Wes that well to speak on that aspect of him. I don't want to say,
yeah, and I'm not trying.
So he's that, because I only had 1 year with Wes, and that was freaking 8 years ago. So I'm sure he's made huge leap bounds of just growth as a coach and as a person. And so I can't really speak on how it is. I just know he's never been in that position where he is the DC, the linebacker coach, and been on the recruiting trail, not that I know of, and had to sell guys on why they should come play for him. So I don't know.
Yeah.
It's you gotta, you gotta bring in guys that are elite, that are good athletes and are fast and athletic and the right measurements. But yeah, I think it definitely helped. I'm trying to think of, I know your question about you want to play in this defense, you have to be bought in on the coach, which I think is a point, but also I played the way that I played because of Coach Venables and because the way he taught me how to study the game, and selfishly I wanted to perform at a high level and play at the next level. So I don't think it really. I don't know. That's a good question. There's so many facets to the defense, and that's a good question. Yeah. I don't have a good answer on that.
So one of Wes's great talents is memorization. People say he has a photographic memory, which really comes in handy when you're breaking down an opponent and tendencies. And obviously that was one of the most memorable parts of Venables' whole tenure was the several times over the years watching one of his linebackers, like you in the national championship game in 2016 in Tampa, point to where the play was going to be. And a lot of people are that fans the flames of, they're stealing signals, but I think it's more they study so much and they're able to memorize all the different tendencies at every personnel grouping, at what point of the field if they're inside their own 30, facing 3rd and 6 or longer, then they're going to run to the short side 78% of the time. Is that more what it is in your mind?
So that play, because someone tagged me in a tweet this morning, and they're talking about that play, and that play happened. So when I would study film, and this is all the way I study film and took notes and memorized stuff was how Coach Venables did it, but not at the level he did it, because he's super big on formations. When we'd get a playbook for just a grade report or a game plan on an opponent, a lot of it started off of, hey, here's their top 10 formations and how many times they've done them. Then it goes down to down and distance, their top plays. But Venables is all built off of formations. Mm-hmm. And so that play, I think, was it a third? I can't remember if it was a second or third down. But so that play, it was like an end over play. So I remember there was I think there's 2 or 3 receivers to the field, and they had no one in the boundary, but they had a tight end in the slot. No, it was end over, so everyone was to the field. Mm-hmm. I think they had 3 receivers, I believe, to the field, and they had a tight end in the slot that was in a slot position, but he was to the field as well. And when they were in that position, and then they motioned that tight end to the boundary, I think it was they probably ran that play. I can't remember the number how many times, but it was let's say they ran that play 6 times in the season. Every single time they were in that formation and they motioned the tight end to the boundary in that down and distance, they ran this play. So I was big on because having to do all that in your head in 2 seconds is very, very hard. So I knew that they only ran that formation 5 or 6 times, and they motioned. I'm like, all right, well, that just clicked in my head because I think I've tweeted it before, a picture of me drawing that formation in my notebook, and I put a little dash when they're motioning, and I was like, if they're in this formation and the tight end motions, they're going to run this play. And I just in my head, it clicked. This is the formation. Tight end just motioned, because that's when. So you see me on the line. He motions over. I get out wide, probably 2 to 3 more yards, because I know they're running the play, and I wanted to set the edge. And that's when I start waving everybody over. I'm like, they're coming here. They only get this many times. They're about to run this play, and it happened. And so I set the edge, and Kendall has a free lane to stop them. And so that was based off of, I knew that just because they ran that formation in place amount of times, and it was 100%. And it was going to happen. And then there was that slip screen as well. So I think it was fourth quarter, where I think it was an even formation. I'm on double slot, and they motioned the receiver across the formation, and the running back slipped out the back, and they did a little slip screen. Mm-hmm. And I think I was 4th down, where it went like a suplex, where I got the running back and threw him over my shoulder.
Uh-huh.
That same formation and same play was the same tendency and percentage, I believe. They only did it let's say 5 or 6 times, and 100% of the time when they're in this formation and they try to do just some eye garbage where they're trying to get you to bump to the field because they have a receiver motioning, they're always going to go out the back end. It was 100%. And I played the way I did and was able to call out plays just because I would really lock in on the formations and the motions and tendencies that were hey, 80, 90, 100% of the time they're doing this. And I would draw them all out and just study them relentlessly. And I don't know how long has Wes been there. I don't. So again, this goes back to me not knowing Wes that well, but Venables coached that defense.
Yeah.
From top to bottom. We have our position coaches that obviously go through their stuff. Venables knows everything, and a lot of those guys are probably coaching and learning and training the other guys based off of how Venables done it. So I imagine that Wes is the same way. We're going to get a game plan. Here's top formations and tendencies, percentages, all that stuff. Just because you say he's been there since 2018. So 3 years.
So he came with Woody in 2009 from Mississippi State, Dabo's first year. And then gotcha. I want to say he was here until 2013. He actually coached the DBs in the LSU bowl game because Charlie Harbison was gone. And then he was at Arizona Cardinals for 3 years, then came back in February of 2018, I believe. So he was gone for 3 years.
Who was there in Arizona? Because my DC, what year is that? Because my
Arians.
DC,
Bruce Arians. He was basically
that was 2014 to, you said 2014 to 18?
It was 7. He was with the Cardinals for the 17, 16, and 15 season, I believe.
Okay. So that would have, a little bit of when I went to the Panthers, I think it would have been after. So my linebacker coach and our DC ended up going through the Cardinals for a year after I left, I believe. So that would have been 2017 and 18. A little bit different defenses. But, yeah, it's all going to be based off of all I know is what I know. Yeah. And formations, tendencies, percentages, down and distance, and what else is there to like grade and to study. So I don't know what your question was.
Yeah. So we were just talking about the hallmark sort of the Venables era was a lot of those. It was just the consummate preparation, knowing what was coming a lot, just based off the study of the tendencies and all that.
Dude, you'd get there on Mondays we'd have a late practice, but I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, we'd have film on, I'm pretty sure it was Monday or Tuesday, but you'd have film at like a defensive meeting at like 5 or 6 or something like that. And I swear to God, for 4 years straight, every single one of those meetings, you'd get in there, you're freaking tired because you just got up, and because you'd have to go to a workout after, I believe, and then you go to class. But I swear to God, every one of those Monday like starter meetings for the next, Venables would come in guns blazing. Like he is drunk 17 what?
You broke up there for a second.
17 coffees. He would sprint into the room. I swear to God, every Monday meeting, because we'd all be tired, and that just kind of set the tone for the week. And he'd come in. We already have like our game plan, and he'd go in, sit down. He would probably BS and talk for like 5 seconds, and you get straight to it. All right, here's the formations. Here's their top plays in these down and distances. Here's what like offenses they like running, this and the other. And Monday you had that meeting, 5 a.m. hour, and you're just getting straight to it, just kind of laying a foundation of the team you're about to play. And we break up into position meetings. And we'd have that meeting Tuesday. I think we'd have, so Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, again, you'd have meetings after the team meeting. It'll be like an hour and a half, I believe. But like he expected his players to, because he's going to, like every single meeting, he's going to ask you questions. All right, so it's this kind of distance. Ben, what do you think? What play they're going to run? Like all the guys, and you better be on your P's and Q's. He's going to know if you're prepared or not. And all throughout that meeting, he's trying to put you in situations where, hey, it's 3rd and 7, they're in double slot gun plus. What are you thinking? All right, they just ran this play. What do you think is about to come? All right, this time in the game, what type of ball are you thinking? Are run? They're in the red zone. All right, what's their red zone tendencies? They're going to be 50% of the time they like this offense or this formation. What are you expecting? And every single meeting, and it kind of comes probably Monday, Tuesday, he's kind of handling most of it. But come Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, he's asking questions and expecting answers out of every single person. So, and he's expecting you to watch. Hey, get there. We got your Tuesday or Thursday workouts. You better be in watching film. And the guys that were able to answer questions quickly and efficiently were the ones that played. But you got to be on your P's and Q's. You got to be wired. And I will say that is the most wired, consistent coach. And there was never a day where he wasn't on. And that's why we were consistent, Because you couldn't be off with him being on every single day. Like you had to be prepared in every situation because you knew he was going to be.
Okay, so he assaults you with all this information on Monday morning, and you're basically expected to, by Wednesday evening, to have
Tuesday. I mean, yeah, I'm telling you, it's a thick game plan, and he expects by the Tuesday meeting after the team meeting, he's asking questions and he's expecting answers. And if not, you're getting ripped in front of everybody.
How
just
so?
Ripped, and low-key, it's just embarrassing because he's going to come after your soul.
All right, can you do a reenactment of the typical tearing into your soul Tuesday afternoon meeting when somebody doesn't know the answer?
Yeah, now I'm recording. I probably couldn't. I'd probably get in trouble.
But trouble from who? Not me.
You want to put cuss words in your article?
Whatever. It's not whatever.
No, I mean, I was there for 4 years, and we probably went to 500 meetings. So it's just, I honestly can't even say. I don't even want to say. I'm trying to be I'm trying to communicate better and not talk the way I used to in football. So I'm just it was tough.
Screaming.
He's gonna question for me. If it's my senior year and it's Tuesday or Wednesday and I don't answer something correctly, he's gonna question me as a leader. He's gonna question me dude, what are you doing? Jamie, are you ready? Ben clearly don't know what he's doing. Be ready to step up. Be ready to start Saturday because Ben is a fourth-year senior, played 30 games, and he didn't know the answer to what they're going to do in the red zone. Jamie, get ready. You're probably going to start this game.
Wow.
But not even joking, he clearly it's not going to start Chicka's 2016, not going to start Jamie, who's a freshman, but he's looking at you with those eyes, the phlegm on his mouth, questioning you as a man because you don't know what's going to happen in the red zone on second down. And then during practice, all right, one's out, and then Jamie, go up for Ben.
There it is.
I'm telling you. So I start running out. Ben, get up here. Jamie, go on the ones. Or whoever it is, and you're just disgusted because you didn't answer. You're so mad. I'd answer everything right, but I don't know what's happening on the red zone second down, and now I'm losing snaps in practice. So he's going to drag it on. And Wednesday, if I still don't answer that question right, it'll be bad. Luckily, I did my due diligence, and I took very good notes, and every night, literally every night, if we're in the season, every night I'm looking through my tips and reminders, looking through every single note. We'd get to Fridays, we go to the hotel. You obviously have the team meeting, and then you go through some position stuff. But Saturday morning, we'd have about a 15 to 20 minute player-led position meeting, and I was the one that had to lead those, so I obviously had to know what was going on. But then Saturday morning or Saturday before the game, before every single game my junior and senior year, I'd bring the whole defense up and I'd go through my tips and reminders from that week. Where I'd have some for the defense, I'd have some for the linebackers, and I'd have some for the DBs, but most of them would be just overall defensive game plan. Hey, they love this formation. Hey, Dorian, make sure you remember this. When they get in this formation, you and someone need to communicate. Every game for 2 years when I was starting, I'd go through my tips and reminders. So I looked through those religiously so that I wouldn't get embarrassed in those meetings or on the field. But my freshman and sophomore year, I got embarrassed a lot. Because he would just ask the questions that I wasn't prepared for because I wasn't studying.
This is why I've always thought, one of the reasons I've always thought college football players should get class credit for playing football, because that sounds like a final exam each week.
Every day.
Every day, you're right.
Every day getting tested, and it's so much information that you have to. Unless you're a freak athlete, then you can get by with some stuff. But if you're me, you're a 6 foot white boy who's running a 4.75. You have to find something to gain that edge. And if you want to play at a high level and be an All-American and win a Jack Lambert and be able to call plays, and you've got to study. I can't speak on the Isaiah Simmons of the world or the Stephon Anthony's because I'm not in that body. And for guys like me, it's school. It's a job. If you don't be good at it, you can go through and have guys that come in, don't play until their senior year, have 30 tackles, and then get out and get a job. But if you want to start multiple years and get some accolades and some recognition, it is a job. That's anything in life, you want to be good at anything, you got to kind of commit to it and sacrifice for it.
I remember when Kendall Joseph shared that, Venables would be calling him late Friday night at the hotel. and saying, hey, look at this, here's another formation or whatever. I mean, I assume with most
1,000%.
Really?
Yes. I forget because I think my senior year, the seniors got a room by themselves. But sometimes that was a home games. On away games, we have to share rooms. Like me and Kendall would have to share a room, or me and Chad, or whatever. But it usually was me and Kendall, I believe. And he put us in group text, or he'd call us, put me on speakerphone. It's like 9:30 or 10 via game tomorrow. All right, I'm watching film right now. Here's a new tendency I figured out. And third down, I look back 15 years when when their coach was a receiver coach at freaking TCU. They ran this trick play twice this year. I'm feeling like, and they've gotten this formation this year. I'm thinking it's coming. They know we're going to beat the crap out of them. They've gotten the formation before, so I know they have it in their back pocket. Make sure you're all ready for this trick play and this down distance every week.
So I'm assuming that most coaches, by Friday, the hay's in the barn. All right, time to relax and sort of detach.
Not him.
Do you roll your eyes when you see the call coming from him late on a Friday night, or are you still just totally engaged? And I mean, how much is too much information overload?
I will say it was information overload. But again, like, you can be the guy that rolls his eyes and not absorb the information, and then when nut cutting time comes, you're not prepared for that situation. Even then, he called you, or he let you know it. So, like, I try to absorb it as much as possible. But yeah, you're a 20-year-old kid. You're just like, dude, at 10 o'clock, go to bed. Like. But yeah, no, that's not. I can only speak to what I know and what I experienced. That's normal for us, or for him. But I've never been in Auburn's locker room or South Carolina's locker room. So I imagine it's not that. I mean, they would be as consistent as we are.
The best example of what you're talking about, wringing every bit of preparation out of the week that you can, comes in the preparation for the final couple of plays against Louisville in 14. After, I guess it was James Quick who caught that ball over the middle. DB takes a bad angle, and it's like a 80-yard catch and run. J.Y. Curse chases him down, I think, to the 2, inside the 5. Anyway, tell me if this sounds familiar to you, but Venables had found some stuff that Bobby Petrino ran at his previous stop at Western Kentucky.
Well, I tell you, I told you. That's what I was bringing up, like stuff like that.
Yeah.
He'd go through the coaches. I'm pretty sure Petrino he had his hands on a lot of things at Louisville, so like he knew that he was going to have a good impact on what plays were called. Honestly, he would go through the timeline of the entire coach's history, where he was, and break down their stuff. The amount of times where we watched a lot of just like grainy film that was from like the early 2000s, or we even get to the 1990s of where a coach was and like seeing plays every week. You have at least one piece of footage that was probably 10 years plus old.
Wow. It is 2 years. 2 years after the 16 championship, they held Alabama to 16 points, and I will go down forever as saying that's one of the most astounding feats in college football history, because of that Alabama offense was just filthy loaded with talent. And is that to you, even though you weren't a part of it? Do you agree with that as you were watching it? I guess, and at the end of the game, when there's 16 on the scoreboard, they don't score in the second half. Are you just as amazed as everybody else was over that?
But being honest, I don't remember much about that game because I didn't play in it.
Yep.
And I didn't have as much of an investment in it. Obviously, the only investment I had was from a fan. So. Yep. Honestly, I think my memory is just so trash now from football. Unless it's about stuff that I was invested in. Like when my memory about games that I played in, I could tell you a lot. But especially from a fan's perspective on 2018, let alone what I did last week.
Yep.
and that's probably because the hits I went through, and my memory's trashed now. But like, honestly, I couldn't tell you a thing about that game. If we're being realistic.
Do you worry about going through the rest of your life and sort of the impact of all those hits?
That's been a discussion. I've had a decent amount of conversations probably over the past year or two. Not to like scare anybody, but
sure.
My memory has definitely gotten, I don't know, I just don't remember stuff. That's just me as a human being, but my memory has gotten bad. Like bad. But I probably only had, like, over my career, and I guess probably any concussion over one is probably one too many, but I knew I had one really bad one in high school, and then I probably had 3 or 4 in Clemson. So I probably had 5 that are like legitimate. And again, that's 5 is worse than 0. But you hear about some guys that have like 50, or they could be exaggerating. But so I don't know what my brain looks like. It's probably small, but my memory is definitely struggles for sure. So yeah, we'll see what the future holds. I have no clue. I'm healthy, and I'm going to run a business, and so it's not as bad as probably some people, but it ain't great.
When you say bad, it sounds like you've been alarmed at how bad it is. Some examples, like what are some ways?
I try to not to like read into that stuff too much. But at the end of the day, like, honestly, it is what it is. There's nothing I can do about it right now. Like, other than I just have trash memory, and I just stuff that I didn't invest a lot of time and energy into, I'm not going to remember. And that might just be anybody. You know, I didn't play in that 2018 game, and I had no impact on it. So I probably watched it at a bar or something. So that's probably why I don't remember. You know?
But then again, you're sitting there recalling all the little intricate details of that one play in 16. So it can't be. But there's so many hours that I'm telling you, that week when we played Alabama my senior year, like, I just kept thinking back to my junior year of all the things that I didn't do. Like preparation wise, where I'm like one of the only underclassmen starting on that my 2015 defense, and I don't play like trash, but like there's a lot of things that I could have done better to give us a better chance to win. So like that week, my senior year, I'm like, this is my last game. I'm not going to leave any stone unturned, and I will have no regret after this game, because I know that I did everything in my power to make sure that I'm prepared. So like the amount of hours that week, I mean, I don't know if you heard the story, but we had a 7 a.m. players meeting or defensive meeting every, I guess we got there, you might have got together Tuesday maybe that week. From Tuesday to the following Monday, every day at 7 a.m. before our team meeting, our defense, we had a players-led meeting. And have you heard that story? I have not.
So I'm trying to decide if I should, I won't give a name. But so I'm going into that week, I'm just like, what are some things that we can do that I know Alabama's not doing? So I think we get there Monday or Tuesday, and after you get there, you go and have dinner, and then you go to a movie, and then you get back, and someone on the team speaks. My senior year, it happened to be me every single week because I could not get Deshaun to speak. That's one of the things that I challenged him the first week of the season, our senior year. I'm like, dude, we have our leadership meeting that we did with McCorvey every week. And I was like, bro, I need you to help me be a vocal leader on this defense. I cannot do it on my own. And I did that all throughout the summer, and then finally challenged him in the leadership meeting, and it pissed him off because he's just like, bro, that's not me. Like, I lead in other ways. I just handle my business, lead by example. If that's who you are, be who you are. I'm going to be the leader I am. So it kind of popped off on me. I'm like, all right, sick. I got to handle all this from like a communication standpoint now, which is fine. Like, there's so many different types of leadership, and the way that Deshaun did his senior year is like his right. That's just who he is. And it obviously worked. And we had good balance. But so every week on Friday nights, you'd have a player come up and speak, and it was me every single week, just because no one else would step up and talk. And so after we got to the Alabama week and we got back from the movies, Coach Swinney would speak for 17 hours like he always did. And then I came up and I challenged our defense. I was like, because all the coaches leave, all the families, the wives, it's just like me and the team in there. And I challenged, I was like, hey, we're going to have a players-led meeting before the team meeting every single day. You don't have to be there, but if you do not come, I swear to God, you're not going to step on the field. You're not going to play. So, like, hey, it's not mandatory, but just know I'm keeping note of who didn't show up because I'm going to make sure you don't get on the field. So, I think breakfast would start at like 6 or something like that. So you had to get up pretty early, eat breakfast, and to come to the 7 meeting. And first day, probably 90% shows up. Second day, probably 95%. Third day, we're probably missing 2-3 guys. Fourth day, one guy. There's only one guy left that didn't show up. Fifth day, only one guy that didn't show up. And then like Sunday, there's still one dude that would not show up. And let's just say this guy is pretty much starting. A young dude. He is like playing a lot of snaps on the defense. And he wouldn't show up. And I find him like that Sunday afternoon. And I was like, dude, I need you to be at this meeting tomorrow. It's the last one. If you don't show up, I promise you, you will not play one snap in tomorrow's game. I got you, bro. I'll be there. I promise. So Monday comes around, and I think it was like January 11th we played, or 9th or 11th. Usually those games are on 9th or 11th.
9th, I believe.
And it was the 9th. Okay, so Monday comes around, and 7 hits. He's not there. Gets to 7:05, still not there. And I'm like, have the clicker in my hand, going through the film, and he's still not there. And I can't even think because I'm just like sick to my stomach because I know this guy is supposed to like have a huge impact on the game that night. And he would not come to this meeting. Gets like 7:15 and he walks in. And he's like getting eye boogers out of his eyes. You can tell he just like missed his alarm. And I lose my mind. And you have these little clicker where you go the forward, the play, the pause, the reverse button that you did to change the film. And I had it in my hand because I'm like going through film with the guys. And I see him walk in and hear the door open. And I just lose my mind. I throw the remote at him and pretty much just degrade him in front of the entire defense at that meeting. And meeting's over. I immediately go find Coach Venables, and I remember I'm walking up the stairs of the hotel. He's walking down. We just happened to see each other, and I was like, "So-and-so, do not put him in the game. He's missed every single player meeting that we had. If you put him in, I swear to God, I'm gonna call timeout or I'm gonna lay on the ground until you pull him out." All Venables says was, "Yes, sir," and he didn't play a snap.
Oh, I guess that'll be easy to figure out.
I didn't say any names, and so he didn't play a snap, and because he didn't come to the meeting, you know, and that was like stuff like that is stuff that's why we won the national championship my senior year, because we had guys that bought in. You know, we had like guys like Christian at Cleveland that didn't blink an eye. Where, hey, dude, you're going to get up an hour early because we're going to have these meetings because we have to do this to beat the Alabamas. And the guys on that defense, yeah, we weren't perfect, and we gave up a lot of points and lost to Pittsburgh. But like, you had guys that were not like me my junior year that knew that it was the opportunity to play at this level and win a national championship is so thin, and we're willing to do what it takes. And that guy's hated me for the past, or probably the past 4 years. And then I saw him. We were at an event, a church event, and together, and he like came up to me crying, and he is like, told me, he's like, dude, I have hated your guts for the past 4 years because of that situation. And we had a good conversation, talk, forgiveness was given, and move on with our lives. And luckily he was on the 2018 team and won a national championship. So like that definitely eased the pain, but the dude like wanted to kill me because I wouldn't let him get in the game because he didn't go to the meeting. Like, that's not my fault. You know, like I'd be soft and a poor leader if I gave in to the fact that you're undisciplined and won't give a little extra effort and come to a simple hour-long meeting. Like, I'm not letting you ruin my opportunity for national championship because you won't get up early. So, but he still has hated me. And but we're good now. We talked. It was like 2 years ago when we saw each other and had a good conversation and moved on. But yeah, people don't know about that. Ask Christian or ask Cleveland or whoever. You can ask Jamie. Those meetings were good. They were beneficial. That's why we played it. We gave up some points in that game, but for the most part, we were able to decipher plays and call them out and get the win. Is because I promise you, Alabama wouldn't do it having a meeting like that.
The most amazing part about that to me is Venables saying, "Yes, sir."
Didn't blink an eye. When I'm walking up the stairs, he's walking down with the coffee in his hand. I'm like, don't put him in the game. We've had these meetings every single day at 7, and he did not show up. And then the day he shows up 15 minutes early. I don't trust him. Don't put him in. And literally just kept walking. Yes, sir. And didn't play.
So there's some important context to that. And I remember talking about this with you several times, both during the 16 season and thereafter. In the 15 national championship, I guess late that year, postseason, there were, I guess, a few guys, maybe safe to say, on defense who were sort of casual, maybe looking ahead to the NFL. And it's always anybody I've talked to off of that team will forever look back and sort of identify that as probably the difference between losing 45-40 and winning a national title that year. But you, the next year in 16, I remember you telling me that you got Christian before the season, maybe, and said that, and you addressed the defense, and you said
we're not where our feet are planted is where they are. We're not looking to next year. No one gives an F about your draft ranking or where you're going to be at in a year. We're not even thinking about it. Yeah, and we talked about that. I think it was like day one fall camp. I absolutely cussed out everybody.
And if you don't, then Christian and I are going to kick your ass.
Yeah, again, I'm the short white boy. You need somebody that's huge, and that is obviously a good football player, a great person, just well respected, and I needed some backup. And yeah, so we and him talked, and we had a really, really good relationship my senior year, and he's the man. Like, I would never say one bad word about Christian Wilkins. The dude is obviously an incredible football player, but just as genuine and they're just good people. And I was very thankful to have a guy like him on our defense my senior year that was just reliable, that you could count on to obviously make plays or do what he said he's going to do. So yeah, I had some backup.
Football season is grilling season, and Jack Oliver's Pool Spa and Patio is South Carolina's premier source for the big three: Weber, Traeger, and Big Green Egg Grills. Blackstone Griddles, too. I'm Jack Oliver. Grill all your tailgate favorites to perfection with a premium gas, charcoal, or pellet grill, then top it all off with something sizzling from your Blackstone griddle. For grills, griddles, patio furniture, hot tubs, and saunas, shop in store or online at Jack Oliver's Pool Spa and Patio, Forest Drive in Columbia, and jackoliverpools.com.
When you're ready for a complete renovation in your home or business, open the door to more with Harris Home and Harris Commercial. Their local experienced team will totally transform any room space, from beautiful floor coverings to construction to finished details. Harris handles every step of your renovation process, whether it's a kitchen or living room or an industrial or educational setting, like some of the positively stunning work they've done at Clemson University. Go to discoverharris.com and experience a total renovation transformation from Harris Home and Harris Commercial. Another loyal supporter of the Dubcast is Blackacre Law Firm in Greenville, a subsidiary of Parham Smith and Archenhold. Blackacre helps South Carolina residents achieve their dreams of home ownership by providing experienced professional representation for real estate closings. Attention to detail is crucial in real estate law. Blackacre is committed to making sure nothing gets by them preparing residential or commercial closings. Blackacre also offers estate planning services for their clients in the Greenville area. Find out more about Blackacre at 864-326-3507. Solero Communications, formerly known as Tandem Payment, is a full-service integrated electronic payments provider powered by leading-edge technology. Solero provides a wide array of merchant solutions, simplified payments. They make onboarding, taking payments, maintaining risk management and compliance, and getting support quick and easy. At Solero, they're all about helping you achieve sustainable growth as a business. Taking payments isn't the only thing your business needs. With Solero's solutions, you can manage inventory, sell products and services via social media, schedule staff, track sales, get reports, and much, much more. Find out more about Solero at solerocommerce.com. That's CELERO commerce.com. How tough is it to look back on that 15? I mean, you in your tweet about Venables, you said you're still haunted by his look, the look on his face after that missed gap and Derrick Henry scooting on by.
Sick to my stomach.
I'm just saying, it's still something that'll stick with. I mean, even though a lot of you guys, well, there are some guys who didn't have the opportunity in 16. Some guys were gone after 15.
Yeah, ask Eric McLean how he feels about that game, or B.J. Goodson. You know, ask those guys who didn't have yet another opportunity to get redemption. I promise you, they will not. I bet your bottom dollar they still think about it. Luckily, I had an opportunity to fix what I effed up my junior year, but I promise you, B.J. Goodson and Eric McLean and guys on that 15 team still think about it.
You don't have to name names if you don't want to, but when did you notice, what does it look like when it's obvious that a player or players are not totally invested and it's something that you're concerned about as being perhaps the difference in a championship game?
Probably effort. Mm-hmm. You know, because that's one thing that I couldn't. I can't speak much on that game because I had plenty of mistakes. I don't think my effort ever came into question. But there's a lot of times in that game where I played hesitant or second guess what I was supposed to do because I let the environment, the situation, being the national championship, the first one I played in, just kind of get the best of me. And there were plenty of mistakes that were made, and I can't judge a man's character on making a mistake because I make plenty. But lack of effort on some people in that game is when you're on the sideline and you just you're looking up on the big screen, seeing a replay and seeing guys just walk or jog. That's tough. It's tough to see it during the week because you just there's nothing that I remember of that week where I'm questioning anything. But when I remember being on the sidelines after a couple of big plays, and you just see guys just lollygagging, and I'm like, that's tough. You know, that's tough to see, especially when you're in the national championship.
It's hard to hear you say I'm a businessman now because I'm just used to what I saw and heard from you when you were a player. Is it weird to say that as a just as a functioning member of society? Hey, I'm a businessman now. I'm maturing, that kind of thing.
No, yeah, it definitely is weird. You know, it's just I'm 27 now, about to get married in a couple months.
Oh, good for you, man! Congratulations.
Yeah, we're getting married in March. So yeah, life changed. You know, there's with time, and growing up, there's a lot of things that happen. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm a linebacker at my core, and a football player till I die. So, but you got to have a plan B, and you got to adapt, and that door closed for me. And luckily I had this plan B with the gym, and had good people around us where I could pursue it relentlessly. Because there's a lot of things that you learn with football, especially just from like a leadership perspective. Like you obviously have to have a unique idea and a cool product, but like it really comes down to the people. Okay, do you have people that you can trust, that are reliable, and like a good team around you? And I feel like if you have that, those are the successful businesses that really grow and flourish. Are the ones that have just really good people on it. Because like this 2021, everything's been thought of. There's literally anything for everything. But the ones that are successful are the ones that have good teams. And I learned that from football and playing under guys like Coach Swinney and Coach Venables. So luckily we had a very unique product and idea in this workout. And I can't even think of a better business partner than Marcus. And we have an awesome team. And
Marcus who?
Brown. Yeah,
Gotcha.
So my business partner is a guy named Marcus Brown. He played safety at Newberry and is just elite. We have a lot of ins and outs of our business where like the roles that he does and I does, but he's really good at his job, and he's a great leader, reliable, shows up, does what he's supposed to do, and he's a good leader of people. And we learned that from football, so at the end of the day, all those guys on that team now, unless they play just 20 years in the league and are Hall of Fame and can just retire after and sit back and do nothing, they're all going to have a plan B. And a lot of the things that they're going to learn from football, and especially playing in that locker room under Coach Swinney and Venables, it'll be easy to make that transition because you just got a lot of knowledge and things in your tool belt that you learned.
Is it still the gym in Anderson, or have you expanded? Or I heard you might be coming to Clemson. Is that?
Yep. So we opened up a Greenville location last year in the middle of the pandemic, which is awesome idea for in the middle of a global pandemic. And that one has gone well, and we're opening up a Clemson location in downtown at the old Astro movie theater. And that will hopefully be opened in the end of February, March timeline. And then we have some more that are on the way, nothing that's public knowledge. And but the plan is to grow and to expand and see where this thing takes us.
So I know a lot of people listening went to Clemson and are familiar with the old Astro and are very curious about what that thing looked like when y'all first walked in the doors.
An empty shell with a 6-foot slope of a floor, which is a problem.
Yeah.
So it's a problem when you're a fitness studio and you're trying to go into an old movie theater. So we luckily my dad is in the concrete business and owns a concrete company. So we were able to get concrete at a very solid price, and both sides of it. There'll be another tenant that I don't think's announced either that'll be beside us that had an even bigger space that's 6-foot sloping. So it's coming along. It looks very different than what it did 6 months ago. It was a turd, but it makes a good works on it.
When I visited with you last, you were sort of just starting to get it off the ground. What's the most important thing you've learned as a businessman from then to now?
I would say it's all about the people. Mm-hmm. Kind of what I hit on earlier. It's like you obviously to go and create a business, you have to have something unique and something that like people want, which we have, but people will come and go, but as long as you have like a good team and a good culture, that's what allows like consistency on the client end. Well, like for us, our number one goal is like I wanted to create a culture of a gym that like people might hate me, might hate Marcus, might hate our staff, but like they've created like relationships and friendships at the gym that, God, I'm gonna keep coming. Ben pisses me off, but I love this place. I can't leave. and that's what I wanted to do, is just create a really good culture. And Nurse, man, I could speak for 15 hours on how to create that, and it's obviously extremely difficult, but it really just comes down to finding good people and then finding a way to keep the good people. That's the hardest thing. It's finding and keeping good people.
It's crazy that the last minute and a half you've talked about what it takes to run a successful business. Everything you just said probably applies to that football program over there as yep. As they're looking for a way to keep this thing going.
That's why Clemson will be fine, and Clemson is who we are and who we'll be because of guys like Coach Swinney, who's just like, he brings on smart coaches that know the X's and O's, but like, you have a leader like him who's consistent and does what he says he's going to do and cares about the culture of the program and guys graduating and stuff like that. People gravitate toward that, like people want to play for a guy like that who, again, like that's what one of the things Coach Venables said in his press conference. Like, I don't care about your talent. I care about your heart. And you want to play, obviously, like it's a business and it's a job and they have their bills to pay. But like, when you focus on like those things, the rest of the other stuff takes care of itself.
Last question, 2 parts. The most pissed off that Venables was at you and the most pissed off that Dabo Swinney was at you during your career.
Okay. I can tell you Sweeney's right off the bat. Coach Venables got mad at me every day. So those are a lot of those. The most mad Coach Swinney was at me was when we played against Wake Forest my junior year. So they did this trick play. It was like a motion, and it was at home. And I made a stop behind the lines and like suplexed the guy and ran like 50 yards down. We were like probably like in the 30 or like they're on 40-yard line maybe. And I run like probably 20 yards downfield after the tackle just to make sure everyone saw me. And I like celebrated and just went way over the top. And Coach Swinney ripped me. And he benched me, I think, for the rest of the quarter because like I just was just OD, just like celebrated and just went way over the top because he just doesn't like that stuff. And he cussed me out. I remember Coach Venables just giving me the look, didn't say anything because he just saw Coach Swinney ripping me and didn't feel the need, obviously, to kind of jump on top of that. But yeah, Swinney wouldn't let me in for that. I'm pretty sure the rest of the quarter because of what I did. That was probably the most mad he's been at me. He also cussed me out for, I told him, it was like my freshman or sophomore year. It was some like charity event or something, and I was supposed to be at it, and I don't think I showed up to it or I was late. There was like some miscommunication, but he honestly didn't care about it. And he cussed, like we were in the indoor facility. And I remember him like cussing me out because I was late or something. Those are the 2 times he's ever cussed me out. The most mad I ever saw him was when Ryan Carter almost missed the bus. I think in my junior or senior, we were going to the national championship, and remember when we were leaving the west end zone, and Ryan Carter was late and ran like from the west end zone to the bus, and he had like his pants around his ankles. Long story why he was late, and Ryan got on our bus, and that's the most mad I've seen Coach Swinney. Him ruining Ryan Carter on the bus because he was late before we were going to the airport, and he almost missed the national championship. He like got his tux cleaned in Anderson, and it was really bad traffic, and just really poor timing on Ryan's part. But almost missed the bus going to the airport for the national championship game. And Coach Swinney, I've never seen him that bad. That was an experience. I have a video on my phone of him cussing out Ryan that I'm not going to send you. We'll never get to the public. But everyone is just like super silent, and he's just like ripping Ryan. And then Corinne Wiggins was wearing like a New York Yankees hat. If you ask anyone on the team, he starts cussing out Corinne for him wearing a Yankees hat when you're not supposed to have any hats or something. Like he just was pissed and was just trying to find anything to get mad about. And just starts ripping Corinne Wiggins for wearing a New York Yankees hat. Coach Venables, golly, I'm trying to think of like any time when I was just like sick to my stomach. Dude, I would probably say that touchdown against Derrick Henry, because we were in double flanker where it was like I'm pretty sure there was like two tight ends. Like they're going to run an inside zone, and we were in a defense called gold, which is like just a base run defense. Just fill your gap, do your job, and nothing will happen. And I'm right in front of. I'm pretty sure it was like I had the B or C gap, and I'm right in front of the gap. I'm almost positive it was the B gap. I'm right in front of the B gap, and I go in the A gap, and I go in BJ's gap, and he runs straight through my B gap. And house it. And we were in the most simple run defense, but we didn't run it a lot. So we didn't get in gold a lot. It's probably called something else now. He changes what the stuff's called every week. It was called gold then, and that season was called gold, and we didn't get in a lot. So I was not confident about what to do because we didn't do it a lot. So I didn't study a lot for the defense because we never called it a lot. And went in the wrong gap. He just houses it for 50, and everyone did their job except for me because I went in the wrong gap. And that was a pretty tough conversation getting back from that. But you have mental mistake. It could be something like you're not even a part of the play. Like you're on the backside of the play and you give up leverage or whatever, you're going to get cussed out. So, and that happened multiple times a game, but that one was tough for sure.
Now, Dabo not known for cussing. You saying actual cuss words from him?
I won't say cuss. Between me and you, he lost his mind. And that was that was, I will say that the one with Ryan Carter, that was the first time I've ever heard him cuss. He didn't cuss at me ever. He doesn't cuss. Like he is, I'm telling you, the dude's pure. Like is what the people think is what we got every single day. He's consistent. He's an incredible, human, Christian father, husband. But he cussed out Ryan Carter on that bus, and that's why everyone's so scared because I'm pretty sure it was my junior year. So I've been there for 3 years, and I've never heard him say one bad word, and he lost his mind. But that was the first national championship we played in, I guess, since '81. So like first opportunity, and Ryan Carter's on ESPN with pants around his ankles.
A great story. Ben, thank you, man. So much great stuff about Venables and the history there. And man, really cool to hear what you're up to and congratulations on the engagement and just exciting things in your life. So really great to hear that, man.
Yes, sir. Sounds good. Appreciate your time. Have a good day.
All right. Thanks to Ben Boulware. Great and fun and entertaining stuff as always from him. One of the key figures of those early Clemson playoff teams. I also appreciate the support of our 7 sponsors for helping make this happen. Most of all, thanks to all of you out there for hitting play every week. Be safe. Cheers.